Hey, everybody. Welcome to the DLZ Podcast. We've got another great conversation for you today. The cross-section of economic development, historic downtowns, and travel tourism. So stay tuned. We've got a great guest for you. Let's get into it. Courtney Hendershot, or should I say Courtney Graf, recently married. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Everyone's like, how's married life? I'm like, nothing changes. Literally, just my last name. Nothing
Just
changes.
your last name. That's great. Well, thank you for joining us today on the DLZ Podcast. We certainly appreciate you taking time to spend a little bit with us and talk about all the amazing things that are happening in downtown Delaware.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here this morning.
Absolutely. I guess for those folks that aren't maybe familiar with Main Street, what is Main Street Delaware? I know there's a parent company with that. What are you guys trying to accomplish in a downtown such as the city of Delaware?
Yeah, so Main Street Delaware, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is to create a vibrant downtown experience for all. So Main Street Delaware, we're primarily known for doing over 60 events a year. So our First Fridays, farmers market, concert series, things like that. But we do a lot more. We do beautification efforts like the downtown pots. We also do a lot of historic preservation and education. So we do a lot of that through events, but also working closely with local government and stakeholders. You mentioned our parent organization. So Main Street is a part of Heritage Ohio. They're our parent organization. They manage all Main Street communities in Ohio, but then above them is Main Street America. So Main Street communities are all across the United States and even globally. So we're lucky to be part of that program and get the support from them that we do.
Obviously, occasionally we see a store moves out, but then we're always seeing new entities moving in, restaurant, retail, things like that. What do you think is kind of driving that?
I think when you're looking at the overall growth of what's happening downtown, you need to look at a lot of the external factors. So obviously, a lot of people know that Delaware County is the fastest growing county. We have a lot of growth happening in the county, but also in the city. And I think you need to look at a lot of the housing that's coming in, a lot of that industrial development, some of those bigger businesses that are coming in. And that is all just affecting the downtown. So it's bringing in new jobs, which is bringing in new residents and families. All of those businesses coming in is bringing in new visitors who are seeing what we have downtown and seeing maybe what we're missing. And so it's bringing in new businesses. It's bringing in new life. And I think you just have to really take into effect what's happening outside, but knowing what's happening on the outside of downtown is 100% affecting what's happening downtown with just new growth. Like you said, we're seeing new businesses. Unfortunately, with that, we're seeing some closing. But when one closes, one is popping up. And it's a really great thing happening in our downtown. And a lot of that is to thank to a lot of partners. So the county, Destination Delaware, the city, we're all working together at the end of the day to drive new traffic to downtown in the county. And I think it's working.
Well, it's interesting, your perspective on that. To go back a little bit, Courtney, I think you've got some economic development experience in your background. Is that correct? You came from West Virginia, right?
Yeah, so I worked for Main Street PKB, so it's in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and I actually worked for their Wood County Economic Development Office, came to Columbus, did a couple marketing jobs, and then I worked for the city of Delaware in economic development before I stepped into Main Street.
Great. I think that's a great balance. Well, we're glad to have you, by the way. I'll drop that in there. Thank you for moving up here from West Virginia, God's country. I get it. I've been known to tout, historic downtown Delaware as, a downtown that, other folks I think are trying to replicate maybe with some modern development, but yet we already have that here, and we have this this amazing aesthetic of a historic downtown. I guess we talk a lot about growth and development and whatnot, but where do we strike a balance when it comes to historic preservation, making sure that the facilities are up to a standard that can handle. Obviously we didn't have fiber and things like this 100 years ago when a lot of these places were built. The pressures we've seen in the inverse from like out in the county, data centers, solar farms, whatever, and the communities pushback on that. So we want to maintain a downtown Delaware that resembles what we know of downtown Delaware, but also we have to make sure that it's able to, you know, facilitate the modern business. Again, we use, Wi-Fi and, the kitchens and things, obviously the standards change as far as food safety and whatnot, it's even minor things like that. Okay. We have to have, hoods over, ranges, and we have to have fire alarms and, ADA compliance, things like that. How do we, but we also want to maintain this amazing historic downtown aesthetic. So, trying to strike a balance between that is obviously not easy.
It's not. So again, like kind of going back, the historic preservation that everyone wants to maintain from the city, the county, Main Street especially, but pairing that with new investment, you have to see those as complementing one another. We want to make sure over at Main Street that this is happening downtown, but also we're positioning ourselves to also be economically stable and continue the growth of downtown Delaware. So I think when you're looking at all of that, it goes further than just the architectural standards that we have. It's looking at the new infrastructure. It's looking at the new businesses and the new property owners that are coming into our downtown. And what is that going to be the long-term effect in our downtown organization and just in the community in general? And I think when you kind of go further into that and what we need, it's just making sure that all of the partners are on the same page, looking at the county, the city, Destination Delaware, Chamber, Main Street. If we're all on the same page with what the end goal is, and that's driving foot traffic, making sure downtown is thriving, the businesses are surviving, I think with that, it's a great thing at the end of the day, pairing those two. Everything is kind of thriving at the end of the day, and you can protect that historic character while also looking at just new investments and new life and just maintaining all of that.
And I appreciate your comment about, everybody being on the same page. I regularly say we're all rowing the same boat. And we want to work in the best interests of, the county, the city, and the constituency and the folks that live there, and improve that quality of life. And, downtown Delaware is an amazing collection of retail, restaurant activity, and, mixes in that really cool, quite honestly, irreplaceable, historic, the storefronts and stuff. It's kind of, I've called it Mayberry-esque. I know I'm just making up my own words right now. I guess I can do that. But yeah, it's hard to replicate that. And we certainly appreciate what Main Street's been doing to help that. I mean, it's not easy when, the pressures of modern development and mixed use developments come along, probably trying to, work their way into that market, honestly, and create, kind of a community in and of themselves. But, downtown Delaware already has it, and, it's an amazing tie-in. You got Ohio Wesleyan right up there on the hill with a really amazing campus. And then we do have quite a wide variety of different offerings in downtown, which is really cool. It is the county seat. So, we have the county government there as well. So it really works. It really works. And I encourage everybody to get down there and check it out. So with all that said, we appreciate Main Street's partnership in promoting all these amazing amenities. What are you guys looking at as far as what are you most proud of as far as from a Main Street perspective? What's gone on? What's happened? What's getting done in downtown Delaware?
There's a lot to be proud of with downtown Delaware. Just in my time being there, even before, not just with Main Street, but in the city, there's just been a lot of growth over the last several years. And I think when you're in downtown Delaware, like you said, there's a lot down there. We have over 30 restaurants and bars. We have a lot of different retail that you can find truly something for everyone there. And I think that's what makes it so special is there's a lot of diversity there for everyone. So it's very easily to be proud of that. But I think, too, we talk about the collaboration among different partners, but it could be cliche to say maybe kind of hallmarky, but the collaboration among the downtown businesses is huge. And it makes doing our job easier when everyone is building upon their neighbor, they're helping their neighbor out, and they're there for each other. Just having all of that together makes doing our job, bringing people to downtown, a lot easier when you have the support of everyone.
Absolutely. I know, I've said before that, downtown Delaware has an amazing sense of community, even amongst, obviously amongst the residents, but even amongst, the vendors and the store owners and property owners down there. So it's always fun to work with, and it's fun to see what's happening. And it's quite honestly, it's fun to market an area like that that's got so much diversity. And we know people can come in from out of town. Obviously, we're working to get people from, out of county to come into county, and we want them to visit Delaware, but we're always excited for people to get there the first time and see, wow, it's pretty amazing down here with all this wide variety of offerings. So.
And I think that's very true for downtown Delaware. I've been to some other communities, and we are fortunate to have as much eateries that we do have. We hosted a Heritage Ohio training earlier this year and brought in around 100 people, a lot from other Main Street communities, but also nonprofits in the county and also just like government officials in the state of Ohio. And so many people were surprised by the walkability and how much our downtown covers. And like I said, I've been to some other communities, and we are fortunate to just have not a lot of turnover on our first floor, but just the amount that we can offer and the hours too that they are open. Truly, you can come any day of the week and find something to eat. You can find a business to go and shop to, and you're most likely going to see that owner behind the counter too, which you don't get everywhere. And I think it's something that we have that in Delaware. It's very authentic, and it's something we're hoping to maintain and are striving for.
Yeah, the pride in downtown Delaware is obvious when you're down there. Yeah, I know there's so many amazing choices, things to eat down there. It doesn't do my diet always the best, but, doesn't matter. Love it anyway. So I guess from your perspective, you've got a great balance of economic development in your past, and now, promoting and working with Main Street Delaware as its director. What would you say would kind of exemplify like a successful downtown? There's so many ways you could look at that. It's like, is it occupancy? Is it, it's vibrant? What I guess in your opinion, what would you say makes it, what makes a successful downtown?
It's hard when you look at downtowns and not just think that downtown Delaware is the absolute best. Like, we're biased. We will always say we're biased. Of course, best, like right. Delaware is the absolute best.
That's right.
But again, it's when you look at other things and you're looking at where we started, where we came from, and where we're going. I think when we're looking at great downtowns and what makes a downtown great is just the vibrancy, kind of like you said. It's what's going on in a given week. In downtown, you can find an event almost every Friday or Saturday, even during the week. And it's just not Main Street. You have Arts Festival, you have the car show, you have an Oktoberfest hopefully coming up. It's just a lot going on from a variety of organization, and even the business owners. There's Late Night Delaware that works on third Fridays, and that is just business led. And so I think when you look at how many events that are bringing people in, that's one way to show that a downtown is successful. I think when you look at the collaboration among all of the partners and the downtown businesses and the property owners, and that they're all working for a common goal, that's successful. I think when you look at the historic preservation that we talked about, but you're bringing in some of that new investment and trying to make things modern, I think that is successful. You're trying to keep up with the times, but also keep that authenticity of what downtown Delaware is and what people have come to love about it and appreciate about it and want to keep going. So I think it's just not one single thing that makes it successful. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things that play into keeping people there, bringing people there, and just continuing to grow.
Mm-hmm. And along those lines, I guess in that vibrancy, a lot of downtowns, are always touting their events. So we're having a lot of events to bring the communities together, bring people, vendors together, bring people from outside our community into the community. Talk maybe a little bit about the importance of, having these kind of events. I know Main Street has their own First Friday event series as well. But that along with maybe, the public spaces and, that room to roam that we like to see in downtown Delaware.
Yeah. Events are crucial. Obviously, like Main Street, like I said, we're predominantly known for our events. And bringing those events in, it's impactful for getting recognition on our downtown, the businesses that are there, the services that we have, but also it's a place for people in the community to come and have a great time and get to connect with one another and show what they're proud of. There have been so many cases that businesses, I can think of Homestretch specifically, they talk about how much they love First Fridays because it's their rent maker. And so knowing that one event at the very beginning of a month has that much impact, that's a great feeling because you're knowing that like that is keeping that business in store and knowing that that sets their month off and leading them to continuing being downtown. And I think these events are just really crucial to bringing that foot traffic in, getting people in on not even a Friday or Saturday. Our concert series we do on a Wednesday because it's a slower day of the week. So I know at Main Street, we're looking at that. What days can we bring people in that maybe downtown's not busy? We're encouraging people to grab a Dora, get dinner, but stay late. So then our businesses are staying open later. And we're kind of starting to hopefully create that nightlife experience through other events, trying to push people here later and just try to get more people into downtown, get people open later, and just continue this vibrant downtown that we have. And a lot of that is based through events.
Mm-hmm. I know. I think the big arts festival is this weekend, isn't it?
It is.
It's always an exciting. I know the downtown is full of all kinds of different wares and artwork and just all kinds of great things just to walk through and see. And I think it's certainly from our standpoint in marketing, Delaware as a city to the outside world is super helpful to have, things like that going on in town where people can drive in. They can find a place to park. I promise you, there are places to park in downtown Delaware, and and just wander around. And then also when they can take in all the streetscape, but then also check out all the businesses behind. And they'll have specials and things, right? Restaurants and all the retail shops that are here year round, and just spend a weekend and take it all in.
Yeah, and I think that's something that not a lot of people realize about Delaware. It's truly a destination. That's something that's worked really hard to get that, but you can come for the entire weekend. And I think Arts Festival is a great example of that. It's all weekend long. It takes up the entire downtown. But about the downtown district itself, it's so walkable. It's 3 blocks. You can walk and constantly pop in and grab something to eat, grab a drink, go shopping, and also come out in the streets and do more shopping and see people who have been there year after year supporting that organization and supporting those scholarships that are going to students through the Arts Festival. But again, once you're done there, you can go to Boardman Art Park. You can go visit other parks. There's so much to do to keep you in downtown Delaware and just Delaware County in general that it's without these events, we would be missing a huge impact on our downtown and our businesses especially.
Absolutely. We'd love to see the expansion of the Boardman Arts Park as well. I believe they're going to have their concert venue done this year.
Yes.
And that's going to be really exciting. I know there's some great concerts they have lined up. Central Ohio Symphony is going to play there, which is going to be really exciting. So we look forward to that. As we've talked about all the great things in downtown Delaware, which is kind of what we do. And quite honestly, and I say that I don't just talk about the good things in Delaware County and the city of Delaware because it's my job. It really is an amazing place. There's some amazing people here. I know neither one of us grew up here, but we're welcomed in the community, and it's been great from that regard. But I guess what are some of the challenges, and then also some of the opportunities, I guess, for some of the businesses in downtown, or maybe somebody that's watching this podcast that says, "Hey, I've got this idea. I'd love to have a place to hang my shingle." What does that look like from someone on maybe on the outside? What are the opportunities for me? Or, what are maybe some of the challenges? We want everybody to come in with eyes wide open because ultimately we want them to be successful and be here for generations.
I think when you're looking at the growth of just the county in general, there's so much opportunity here right now, but in the future growth too with all of that. And we actually just did a SWOT analysis with our property owners, which a good portion of our property owners are also business owners in downtown, which I think is a huge gain for us, just being able to have all of that connectivity. But some of the challenges that we're having, just like I'm sure a lot of people, whether you're a small business or you're a big box retailer, is just the economy that we're in right now. It's $5 for gas and we're all feeling that. And so people are kind of tightening their wallets. They're not wanting to give as much money right now. They're not looking to spend as much, but a lot of these small businesses, this is their full-time job. They got maybe out of their corporate job, they sold everything, they cashed in their 401k, and this is what they're doing. And I think we need to remember that a lot of these businesses in downtown, they have been here for 10 plus years, and we want to keep them around. And it's support where you live, support where you work, support where you choose to play and spend your money. And I think that's really important right now is look at your businesses downtown. A lot of them are probably your friends, and continue supporting them. I think that's really a big thing that our downtown would love to see is more people coming in, checking them out and supporting them. But I think in terms of opportunity, we're pretty fortunate to have that low vacancy rate on our first floor. But downtown Delaware, we need some entertainment. We need something that extra nightlife that keep people there. So, there's always that we're looking for, that further investment. So I think working closely with our City of Delaware Economic Development Department, really trying to find some of those key players that want to come in and look at that really would be a really nice step for our downtown and kind of creating that more vibrant and including everyone. So we're already for everyone, family friendly for sure, but we need that next little step to just keep people here for a full day and know that you don't have to go somewhere else for that.
Right. Absolutely. I know we've talked at length, Nick Langford, the city's economic development director, yourself, myself, we've all talked about needing some additional activity. Would love to see something where, we can hold people here longer, but, again, there's a lot to do in downtown Delaware, I think, and they can find some amazing things. And like you said, spend a weekend, especially when you've got Arts Festival or we have the big car show and some other, the Oktoberfest that I'm hoping that comes to fruition. That would be super exciting. So I guess, we watch the news and you see the Columbus metro area is huge, growing like crazy, with Intel and Anduril and these major companies locating here. 2.5 million people in this metro area now. I guess what is Delaware as a city, as a historic downtown do to try to maintain their brand in the midst of all of this? We not just get lost in, okay, it's Columbus Metro, it's a monster of economic development and everything else, but yet we have this really quaint historic downtown. How does Delaware maintain that through all this growth?
I think with that growth, again, it just goes back to preserving the history of downtown. And I think that's something that a lot of the businesses, our partners in the community, they're really passionate about. So it's going back to what does the Delaware community value most? And I think that's the walkability of our downtown. It's our local businesses. It's the traditions we have, like the All Horse Parade. It's Jug. It's Fair Week. It's being connected not only to your neighbors and to the community directly, but it's the schools and the businesses, and it's getting involved. And I think it's looking at all of those values and how you take that and you implement it into that future growth and making sure kind of everyone is on that same page again. And it's working on that collaboration and moving forward, but in a strategic way. I think when you're looking at all this growth and the people that it's bringing in, as long as you're all on the same page and you maintain that and you keep pushing it forward and putting that out on social media and being that true, authentic self, people who have invested in the downtown community and in Delaware in general will continue investing. But I think with that too, you're going to keep those people there and more people are going to want to come because you are maintaining that small town root that we have.
Absolutely. I know Main Street launched just next door, which I know is a great program to kind of talk to the rest of the world as to, how close downtown Delaware is to Columbus Metro. We talk about that a lot as far as from the county perspective. 'Cause once you get to Polaris Parkway, you're in Delaware County, and it's so close, but yet we have so many amazing amenities, and it's just a short ride right up the road to come into a really cool historic downtown and check out all these amenities, right?
Yeah. And that's like exactly what Just Next Door is set to do. So Main Street Delaware, a couple of years ago, we turned 25 years old, which is amazing to have been around that long and to continue that growth. And one of the big things we wanted to do for our 25-year anniversary was kind of put a brand on downtown. So Main Street, we're still Main Street, nothing changed there. But we created this campaign Just Next Door, and it's to show that even if you're down in Columbus around Short North, but looking up to Dublin and Powell and Sunbury, we're just next door. We're not that far of a drive, and you can come up and make it a true destination for the day and weekend. And I think it's been going really great. That brand was made for everyone, whether you are a business downtown, a property owner, a partner like Destination Delaware, but also the residents. You can use it as a hashtag. We're pushing it out more. We have some swag at the Welcome Center for it, but it's a fun brand that also pulls into the branding itself cool elements like the streetscape of downtown. We have the art scene pulled into it. We have OWU. It brings in everything that makes Delaware truly special.
Absolutely. And what I mean, from a Main Street, your perspective is, the director of Main Street Delaware, and Main Street as an organization. What is your vision, I guess, for the future of downtown Delaware? What are you guys looking at, working on? Say 5-10 years down the road. What's your vision?
I feel like that vision could change every day, honestly. It depends on like what's going on at that time and all the projects and new businesses coming in. Obviously, our big goal is maintaining the businesses that we have down there. But again, working on that entertainment side of it. We want to make sure we're bringing in something that creates that nightlife and keeps families coming down and keeping them there. Obviously, just the downtown is growing too. Outside of the boundaries, we always have residential coming in, and then also new people coming in, like the Mill on Flax. So, I mean, that's been huge to have that housing going in and bringing those people. That's part of the east side. It's walking distance to downtown, so engaging them to come in. Obviously, you have some businesses on the east side as well, but it's just continuing that growth of getting more people into our downtown district and really marketing what we have. So you can never slack on social media. Unfortunately, that's really like the meat and bones of how you get a lot of your information out. So it's just continuing to position downtown Delaware and just in the county and the city in general as the place that you want to be. You want to invest your time. You want to live here. You want to work. You can play. You can raise a family here. It's maintaining that and continuing to grow upon it for sure.
Absolutely. I know it's amazing to me, as you mentioned earlier, the walkability of downtown, and it's not even just, the three, south, middle, and north blocks, as we like to call them. I walk regularly from, we have an office in your welcome center, and I walk regularly up to the post office. I've walked all the way to the fairgrounds where the Little Brown Jug's held, and all the way back down past all the government offices. And it's all, beautiful sidewalks and picturesque homes and trees. And it's like, wow, this is really a special place. And we're excited to continue to market, and again, being partners with Main Street to, see downtown Delaware continue to thrive. And, but at the same time, maintaining that picturesque, historic downtown that, quite honestly, it's almost postcard worthy at times, given when the trees are flowering, it's about as good as it gets, I'll say. So I guess from that standpoint, and I didn't grow up here, but what would be something that, if somebody came back and had been gone for 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years and come back to Delaware and walk around and see what might surprise them, I guess, from a visitor standpoint, something that's changed, or, maybe something that hasn't changed. I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the fun things about this job is that you do get to interact with a lot of people that have moved away from Delaware and are coming back maybe for Little Brown Jug, or they're coming back for something else. And it's fun to get to talk to them about what has changed. And especially being a community that we are fortunate to have OWU and a college part of our downtown, that right there is huge. So getting to talk to their alumni and what's changed, like the big thing, Clancy's. Like that's what I don't know Clancy's. Like I said, didn't grow up here, but that's a big one that people talk about, and the memories that they have at Clancy's, good, bad, or otherwise. But I think that's huge. But a lot of restaurants are still around that people got to experience when they were children. I love hearing about like the old shops that used to be there, or a lot of our ghost murals that we have downtown, hearing about like Beehive Books and all of those places. So it's fun to hear about that history, but people that maybe have never experienced Delaware, like you said, me and you, we didn't grow up there. When I first came to Delaware about 6-7 years ago, the first thing that struck me about the downtown is truly just how much there was. You cannot walk up and down the street without something catching your eye. And you talked about how like beautiful, like the streetscape can be in the houses. And I think that's something that our downtown strives for. We want things to be kept nice. We are really looking to keep things just beautiful and presentation worthy at all times. And I think that's something that I really enjoy about our downtown, and hearing when people come in just how clean it is and how kept it is and how nice and welcoming it is, and all the sandwich boards that we have and all the patios. Like it's just eye-catching, and there's something for everyone. And that's really enjoyable to hear. We can be biased at Main Street, of course. We think we have the best downtown, but when you get kind of some of that recognition, or people who have never been there or have spent 10, 15 years away and they come back, it's really good to know that we're all working together and it's paying off.
Absolutely. That vibrancy, I think, when you walk, you see all the people walking, and as you mentioned, the sandwich boards, and there's people sitting out on patios, and it's exactly what it harkens me back to some of my time in Europe and whatnot, where, those downtowns were so busy and vibrant, and it was really a cultural hub. So yeah, we're super excited to continue to be partners with Main Street Delaware and moving the needle and continuing to support, obviously the historic preservation of such, but also, the continued growth and modernization as we can inside of maintaining that historic aesthetic that, quite honestly, is not easily replicated. And I know a lot of people are trying, but yet we've got it, and we need to capitalize on that. So with that said, is there anything else you wanted to share with the folks in cyber world about Main Street, downtown Delaware? Again, congratulations. I know what was it? Just been a few months that you've been married. So that's
September.
That's fantastic.
Feels longer than that, though. In a good way. My
way.
Husband's going to watch this and be like, okay, yeah, it's a good thing.
What was that about, right? So, okay. Well, with that said, we have a parting gift before you get in any more trouble. I don't want you... Husband's going to watch this and be mad. Every guest on the DLZ podcast gets their official little brown jug. Obviously,
so
the little brown jug is a quintessential with Delaware and Delaware County. So there you go.
I'm so excited. Absolutely. This is awesome. I've always wanted these, and I've always wondered where you got these. And all I had to do was come in here and
that's right,
ditch my marriage and get one of these.
Spend a little time on the DLZ podcast. At least you get your own little brown jug to go forward. So
no, I appreciate your partnership too. I do have to, Main Street does a lot, but Main Street wouldn't be what it is without our downtown, but our partners like yourself, the city, the county. I think we all work really great together, and we're fortunate. We all cover different districts, and at the end of the day have our own mission, but we all work together because we all want the same thing. And I think that's truly something special about Delaware too, just to have that support. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, and thank you again for taking time. I agree. I think the fact that we all cover different areas just makes it all that much better. We don't have a lot of redundancy, and we're able to stay in our lanes, but also get in the same boat and row together, which is, to me, is the goal. We want to improve quality of life for the residents of Delaware County and all of Delaware County. And yeah, I'd love to see all the exciting things you guys are doing. And I can't wait to get back downtown. I haven't visited Typhoon for some sushi in a while, so I'll have to make sure.
Well, let me know when you go. I want crab rangoon. So I want to be there for that.
All right. Fair enough. So with that wraps up another great conversation here on the DLZ podcast. If you like what you saw here today, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with anyone else that cares as much about the county as we do. So until next time, we'll see you around the county.